Blake, tell us a little about yourself. What would you tell people who might meet you, your 30-second elevator speech, so to speak?
Sure. Well, my main mantra is in marketing. I'm actually a podcaster right now, and I'm helping people to promote their practices online through audiocast, which is a shortened version of a podcast, which helps people to tell their stories in their business and share information in a way that makes others really want to listen. So that's really where I'm at right now.
What strengths do you bring to that in terms of helping people talk about themselves and market their businesses and themselves?
Well, as a marketing strategist, I really help people to think about how they're monetizing their practices, because in life we are all looking towards someday not being able to work anymore, which means retirement is on the forefront of most people in the target demographic of which I'm serving, which is men predominantly in the age group of 40 to 60 who are in business practices, who are looking at how do I get my life to the level that I really want to live at in my retirement. So when we look at it in the long-term aspect of marketing a practice, we're really figuring out how to sell ourselves well enough through the sales processes, the sales scripts, and eventually the marketing materials that we present to prospects and eventually with clients in terms of a client retention program. So those are sort of the topic areas that I help people to think through and to strategize in terms of actual tasks of productivity that I might give to them in further services and other things.
What's in your background that really makes you an expert in this area?
Well, journalistically, I have a degree from Indiana University in actually the area of journalism and visual communications, and that began long ago, long before graphic design ever became a degree. As a matter of fact, it was a degree that was just launching as I was graduating my last semester there, and practically I have learned every new technology that has come into play since its inception. And I started in photography at a very young age of 15, making my own little photographic studio that put me through college and then took me abroad and overseas. It also helped me travel the nation photographing architectural firms and builders and other sorts of lumber yards in that field, which allowed me to walk into an organization, speak only with the executive or actual owner of that multi-million-dollar practice, and help them to capture the best images of their overall business to sell in high-gloss marketing brochures. I was in 72 cities in 1 year, and that was a lot of travel for me across the nation of the United States. And it's sort of interesting how many places I went that year, but it was a great time to meet a lot of wonderful people in that field who are sort of old school in mindset and their ethics and the way they honor other people's gifts, and at the same time very cutting edge in their abilities to really promote themselves well, totally, predominantly by word of mouth, which is something that all business practices have to get to. Is the best way they can grow is through that word of mouth, client retentive oriented sales process where clients are so in love with what they do and how they stay in touch and keep the relationship alive that they market themselves well long after they have finished a sale. And that keeps that person top of mind in every aspect of their life, so that when any other person mentions, hey, I'm looking for this or I'm thinking about that, that individual immediately says, you've got to call so-and-so. And that's the sort of client retention programs that I help people to produce.
There are lots of folks who put themselves out there as marketing gurus. Kind of what makes you special? What's special about your approach?
Well, I'm really a good listener, and so my role in life, I feel, is to interview people to the point that I really get a sense of what their soul is trying to accomplish. And not many practitioners talk about the soul. A lot of people talk about storytelling. A lot of people talk about podcasts in a way. But in truth, we are helping people to understand who we are in our souls in a matter-of-fact way for our business practices to provide ourselves a life and livelihood. And in a lot of terms, I talk about the true aspects of living. And that sort of helps to move men in their practices to really think on, am I doing and leading the life that I long to live in what I'm doing? And sometimes I make a marketing plan with someone who eventually decides, gosh, this is not really at all what I wanted to be doing in my life, and they take a total turnabout and go back into their passion, and it flourishes like crazy because now they're on their soul's path, which is where they're supposed to be at. Many times people fall into a position because they're desperate for work, because everyone in life has to make a living. But if we produce people in a way that helps their souls to journey through life and through lessons and all the aspects of marketing a business and its growth, then we really have told a very fascinating story. And most entrepreneurs have great stories to tell their listening audience, their readership in their blogs, like you write, and openly in their overall practice of marketing themselves at large in either the local, national, or international communities that the internet and World Wide Web allows professionals to do these days. And every practice in life is a different size. So it really doesn't matter whether it's a small business, micro business as they're often called, or whether it's a large corporation. The story of me and we and how we help others is really where it's at today.
Sounds like you really focus on people's passions and inspirations. How do you help inspire people to be their best selves and present themselves in the best way?
Well, one of the hardest parts of being a consultant is being able to pry into someone the importance of their life journey. And that sometimes in life they're going through parts of a journey that are hard in order to rebuild who they're really supposed to become through their marketing of their business. And a lot of times that means I have to do some tough love with them. I have to push on them a little bit. The other day on the phone, I really got in a lady's face, if you will, across the phone saying, look, you're telling me all this stuff. You're wasting my time over 2 hours, and you haven't really told me what you really long to do in life. And then, boom, it hit her. And out it came her mouth. What she was wanting to produce was an amazing sort of event. And it took that pushing and prodding, but it took 2 hours of relationship development before she was willing to trust me with her soul's desire. And that's something that a marketing consultant must produce, is what many people call the trusted advisor. That role is so vital to a professional person or a business owner to be able to let himself go enough in a confidential, proprietary setting in order to get to the heart of the matter of what he really longs to have in his life, whether it's in his business practice or how he manages his time in his family environment so that he can produce the best living for himself and his loved ones that he possibly can. So I guess that's how I help to inspire people, is that I press on them, I challenge them, I give them creative ideas that they love or they hate, but at least we get somewhere on the page of the written word of copywriting and in visual campaigns in terms of scripting, videos, and other aspects of the online marketing community's expectation for people in a business practice today.
How would your efforts change the way your clients do business?
Well, Gary,
Change the way they're successful?
the life plan we put into practice is usually based on a gift or skill set that we have. For example, you have this wonderful ability to write incredible blogs, incredible interviews, and other sorts of practical help to many professional companies that you've served over the years with large names and small. And in that way, you have determined what your sales process is and what it should be in order to gather the right type of client for your practice. Most business practices have to have a sales process of some kind. They have to be ready when a person calls them, and if they're not, they should not take the call, and they should wait for a moment until they're really ready to talk. So I don't have a perfect world per se, but I do have strategies that I've implemented in my own life that have produced a living in part-time hours, and most people would kill for that opportunity. I'd love to do it again if I can, but in life and society and evolution of technology changes how the world does business. And practically, we all have to admit to the fact that change is constant, which every person in my life is always talking about. But in truth, when we evolve with the way society and technology goes, we also have to streamline our strategies and our techniques in order to move other people to be interested in who we are as people long enough to keep them in the sales process. And that's the art of the sale. It's building a relationship that will produce business results, not personal friendships and other things, which do result from good, strategic, profitable partnerships. But openly, there's no perfect world for anyone today. We're all struggling in some way. We're all surviving in some way. We're all in security in some way. And we all long to be in a moment in life when we are insignificant, where we can give back in some way to our communities or to the philanthropic organizations we'd love to contribute to if we had the money. So I think that's really what most things are about in life. Not perfection, it's about figuring out what will work the most successfully in our situation, in our period of time in which we're practicing a business.
Great. As we wrap up, what would you like people who might listen to this or read this do next? What's the best way for people to work with you and understand more about what you have to offer?
Well, practically, the best thing that anyone can do if they have an interest in anything I've said here today or why I do the work that I do is that they can simply pick up the phone and telephone me. My telephone number is 317-348-0529, and I'm happy to talk to any person. If I don't get the call immediately, I will always call back, and I will always provide that individual a free session of sorts to help them really think through whether or not I'm the right fit for their business practice, because like with every relationship, there's going to be the good, the bad, the ugly moments of time where we have to be able to move through a process that I've planned out, proprietary in its nature, to help people to market their practices and their businesses better. And that's sort of how I do things. So I guess that's really the answer, is that the best thing for any relationship to begin is through a telephone call, maybe a meeting via Skype or Google Hangouts, or any other technology that allows people to be comfortable in their place of employment or their work, where they're not interfered with or interrogated by any other person in their business, where they can really talk openly and honestly without feeling like they're exposing themselves too much. And phones allows us to do that in a way that no other technology can, because people have to really listen into a person's voice tone, the quality, the words that they select, and that's really an art in itself, is communicating in a way that makes men really sit up and go, wow, this person has said something really different than other people, or this person sounds the same as other people, and I'd like to tell them so, or whatever their little feedback point might be. But openly, that's a great way. Another way is through LinkedIn. I'm actively someone who is very proud of a member, and I'd like to really help that individual to become better in their life on LinkedIn. So that's pretty much it, Gary. I'd really like to thank you for this moment in time that you've given me in your podcast interview, and I'd like to let you know that there's some sound effects going on, so hopefully the folks who are listening at home won't be bothered by that. But other than that, thanks very much, and I hope you have a great week.
Thank you, Blake. Appreciate your time.